So today we're going to start with a young man who lives in Shawnee, Kansas. His name is Chaz Quinn, and he was diagnosed in April of 2020. So he's fairly new to this whole thing. And Chaz, please tell us your living with LHON story.
You bet. Thanks, Maria. As Maria mentioned, my name's Chaz Quinn. Live in Shawnee, Kansas. My wife's name's Mandy, and we got a little 17-month-old little boy named Cade. We just recently moved here from the Texas Panhandle. My journey with LHON actually began in October of 2019. From what I understand, my story's quite unique, as I wasn't losing vision when it all started. I wasn't having issues with my eyes. I just went for an annual optometrist appointment, and she saw a swollen optic nerve at my appointment and really didn't like what she was seeing with my eyes from pictures she saw. And then I went to ophthalmologist and several appointments there, and he wasn't sure what was going on, and he was going to send me to a retina specialist. And they said, no, that's probably not for us. You better send me to the neuro ophthalmologist. So finally made it to the neuro after 2 or 3 months of all that. And within about a month and a half, 2 months, and 3 or 4 appointments with him, he said it's got to be something called LHON. And of course, we didn't have a clue what it was, anything like that. We did he did the test, and it was the end of February, somewhere around there. And we got the results that I have mutation 11778 in April 13th of 2020. So in that time, I got to say my wife's been great through this whole process. She's done a lot of research, and she's throwing things at me, and sometimes like, you got to slow down a minute. So when it all happened, I went from 2020 to 2200 from October to February in my left eye. So I'm still driving at the time, since my right eye was unaffected, and making it through 2020. And I guess I must add, my wife was she was pregnant at the time in October. And so the last thing of my worry was trying to figure out, what's going on with myself. I had a wife and who was pregnant, and we're having a little boy. We're hearing that he's healthy and everything's going good there. So, as a new dad, that's your most concern, is your wife and little boy. And so that all came out good. He was actually born on my birthday in January. And then it was like, okay, your eyes are really getting bad. Nothing's getting better. Because, typical thing for, just guys mostly, oh, it's all going to be fine. You're going to make it through it. It's just, your eyes are just doing something crazy. It'll get better. Well, sure enough, my left eye, there wasn't no improvement in it. But so we start learning what LHON is and how it affects you, where it starts in the body. And so I started talking with my parents and decided, my mom was adopted. And this is when we found her biological parents, learned that there is a history of LHON in the family, and that it's there, and they knew it was there, but we didn't know them my whole life and lived within 20 miles of both my biological grandparents. So got to learn about that from my mom talking to her mom. And fast forward to make it through the summer, new dad, just facing life's obstacles of being a dad. And then my wife got a promotion with her company to move to Shawnee, Kansas. I'm like, oh goodness. So here we go, having to find new doctors, figure out what we're going to do about that. And as big as the Kansas City metro is, there's only 2 neuros here. So found a good doctor here that we're really enjoying working with. And he was very familiar with LHON from studying at Bascom Palmer. And so that's been a great relationship we've got to build with him. And in, I guess, December of 2020 is when my right eye started to go. And, really didn't know how that was going to happen or what we were going to do. And from the time we moved, or from the time my right eye became affected to February of 2020, it had finally caught up to my right eye, or to my left eye, excuse me. And then, that's when I got told that I couldn't drive no longer, was February of this year, so I haven't drove in almost 4 months, and it's been a little bit of an obstacle. It's been a good move for us moving to Shawnee. We live about 5 miles from where I work. My wife works from home, so she just runs me to the office and then picks me up in the afternoons, and we're just steadily making it through this journey. One thing I can say about LHON is, it may seem like there's going to be a lot of bad days, and there's some discouragement. Don't let it discourage you. One thing we quickly learned is the LHON community is one of the most supportive groups that you could be involved with. There's many people that have stories, and everyone's story is different, but it's all very enjoyable getting to learn everyone and where they're at and what they're doing and how they're navigating through life. And the people on this panel and just everyone that's there, one of the best support groups that you could find.
Thank you, Chaz. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. From the day I learned I had LHON, stepping into the community was, one of the best things that I could have done for myself and my family. So I would agree with you with that. I couldn't have gotten through some of the early times and even still today without having the LHON community there, and not only for yourself but for your spouse. And it's really it's a family affair, if you will. And I love the fact that your mom found her biological family because of this, and I've heard of that with other people in the community. And I bet that was pretty special for your mom. And your grandparents, you said, only lived 20 minutes away.
Yeah,
The
pretty
biological.
Close. It was I don't know if she was, I think she was more nervous than anything trying to meet them and talk to someone that she knew, put her up for adoption for good reason. But I think she's enjoyed getting to know them and learn a little bit more about the family. But I think I was grateful for it more for health concerns and just learning health history within the family.
Right, right. So if there's a history, so there's other people now, in your family line that are affected with LHON?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay. So, that's kind of, at least, now, it's in the family. So you're pretty, sure that that's what it was. But I have heard of other stories about how adopted parents or family members do find their biological family, and they have to let that family know, oh, hey, this is what's going on. But in your case, they went, oh yeah, we know all about it. So a little different twist there. But thank you so much for sharing, Chaz. It's been great to get to know you through the process of putting this panel together. And I appreciate you sharing your living with LHON story. So thank you so much. And one other thing, your wife writes a blog. What's the name of her blog?
You would ask me that question.
Oh.
I think it's with Love and Grace or something like that. I'd have to get it if anyone's ever interested. But, when she started that blog, it was more of, hey, I'm just going to start blogging. Her hobbies is cooking and just she enjoys being in the kitchen. That's her hobby. And she is going to blog about things she's doing, tricks she's learning with cooking. And next thing you know, I'm affected with Leber's hereditary optic neuropathy. And she's like, well, I guess I have something else to add to the blog, because it sounds like this is something that's very unknown. And so she's added a little bit of that. She hadn't got to blog as much as she liked because, of course, she's a full-time mom and a full-time employee. So
yeah,
she sleeps when she can. So,
that's a handful. That's a handful. But the reason I mentioned is because she has written about your journey with LHON from a, spouse perspective, which I think is interesting. So I wanted just to make sure that was out there in case anyone's interested in heading over to that. They can certainly contact you and get the name. But thank you again, Chaz.